Hello everyone and welcome back to the Cactus Patch. I am your host, Glitch Cactus, but you can call me Cactus. And today we're discussing the previous East Coast regional major, who knows what to call it. That's right, we're talking about Gridlock. Gridlock 2025 that this year was a part of Collision. And who better to have us on to talk about this event than Power, or otherwise Andy. How are you doing today?
What's up, Cactus? I'm doing good. A little tired, but here we are. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Yeah, we were talking a little bit before we went live, just that lovely Labor Day Monday, getting working our
Uh,
shifts.
we were working, now we're working right now, it doesn't
Yeah.
stop.
Hey, the grind never stops. You just gotta keep pushing through.
Yeah, it'd be like that.
All right, so for those who maybe for some reason might not know who you are, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. Splatoon, I used to compete a lot. I used to be very competitive, played on some high-level teams, and then eventually, as with a lot of people, they start to lose time to play the game, so you can't compete as much. And then I became a LAN TO essentially for Metro Inc. And we host New York City LANs, and yeah, that's the 5 second spiel for that.
Very nice, very nice. Um, how did you get into Splatoon? What was like that kind of thing that drew you to the game in the first place? Like, are you a Splatoon 1 OG or like have you been there since the beginning?
Yeah, I'd say I was there since the beginning. Getting into the game was pretty much luck.
Hmm.
My brother ended up showing me the game itself, like the test fire, and I played it from there. I picked it up, and then at the time I was like, I had no idea what competitive was and all that. But eventually I was like, oh, it'd be cool to form a team, form a team, get some strats going. So I visited Squidboards and, uh, you know, met the people there, talked to the people there. And I guess like, the story just kept going. Like we formed teams and played and yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's how it always kind of starts, right? I know a lot of people will always say like they saw. I had some people on that would say like they saw those like commercials for the game. Some people get showed it. So yeah, lots of different avenues to come through to it. But yeah, that kind of was your breakthrough to the game, and just the rest is history from there.
Yeah, it's just it's a long story of like of me like trying to play the game more and all that. But I feel like we can talk about that another time probably.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. What would you say some of your like biggest accomplishments or favorite moments that you've had playing Splatoon through the years, or just being in the community?
So, I was thinking about that because I've seen that question asked like a good amount of times. I think I saw like a trend on Twitter, Blue Sky about it, and people would post it.
Hmm.
Uh, and honestly, the more I like think about it, imagine the best moments for me have always been mostly lands, like LAN competition or
Hmm.
like pop offs or just hype moments like playing, doing clutch plays and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's been the best. Seeing like our friends and besides that, like online, it's fun. The most fun I've had online was probably playing like grinding Japanese scrims in the morning back in like Splatoon 1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was hype. It was very, it felt like a playground, and there's
Hmm.
like the world is your oyster. A lot of different comps that the Japanese teams used, a lot of different strategies, and just figuring all that out was very fun. Yeah, primarily land stuff. Maybe that's why I like being a land TO.
I was gonna say like usually everyone's got that kind of driving point that gets them to or wants makes them want to do whatever it might be. So whether it's TOing in general, whether it's production, whether it's continuously competing, or like the case for you, you've focused on land TOing. That's that kind of drive of just bringing the kind of the online community to in person, right? Allowing that space for players to go somewhere physically to, compete as much as they want, but also have that sense of community and enjoy that time together in person playing the game that's like you never really think of going in person for, right? It's like whenever you first
Mhm.
start a game, it's like it's cool to like have the online aspect, but thinking just you could go physically there is like wild.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, especially like with Splatoon 1.
Hmm.
That was it lasted about 2 years, and there wasn't a LAN that I went to at all in that time period. It was all online.
Hmm.
So it was more like Splatoon 2-ish when I started getting into the LANs, and it's like it just like opened up a whole new like way of enjoying things.
Yeah, only so much that you can really get from online tournaments or like the rare instance of when like Nintendo will do like a world championship where you're competing to get that spot to be
Mhm.
flown out, whether it's to like worlds or like a PAX event when they did those. So yeah, I totally get the seeing that kind of evolution of how the scene would grow and how events would just continue to unfold.
Yeah, it's like funny enough too, like my first LAN was actually one of the Nintendo ones.
Hmm.
And I was trying to, it was like very back then, Splatoon 1. I was
Yeah.
trying to go to, I think it was Don't Park on the Grass. Shout outs to like whoever can remember that. Um, I was trying to go to that, but I was still pretty young then. I think I was like 16 or something.
Mhm.
And my parents were like, "Oh hell no, that's not happening, bro.
Yeah.
who are these people? Like, what's going on?" Um, and then yeah, so that didn't happen.
Mhm.
And then Nintendo rolled around. It was for Worlds, so that it's like a lot easier to be more confident. Like, oh, it's like a professional company that's doing this. So
Yeah, not just some
that
like grassroots.
yeah, yeah, for sure. It's the classic like, uh, don't meet strangers on the internet type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad I was able to go to the Nintendo event. That was my first time traveling alone. That was an experience in itself.
Mhm.
So I'll never forget that one.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that's what kind of helped unlock that want for you to make the not want to say regular attendance, but when you can attend more events that would happen in the future, and of course to what you do now, hosting your own, which leads me a bit into my next question. When did you kind of start wanting to TO events, and what led to you creating Metro Inc. with others that we've talked about before on the podcast of
Mhm.
Law and Pico?
Honestly, the TOing, I've always had like a little TO bug in me
Hmm.
since the start of Splatoon. I was like a TO for one of the first events
Hmm.
that didn't end up running well. It didn't finish,
Fair,
but
yeah.
we were all hype. It's like, oh, Splatoon, let's make a tournament. We had no idea what we're doing,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's still. I mean, people still want to finish it, gather the players, run it back, but I doubt it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I did that, and then like every like once in a while, I'd be like, "Oh, I want to organize a tournament online," and then I didn't really get into it because I was just mainly playing the game
Hmm.
competitively, so I didn't have time to do both. And eventually, when I stopped playing as much, I was like, I still enjoy Splatoon. I still like the community. I still like the LAN events. So I was thinking maybe I can put my time into TOing at some point, but there
Hmm.
wasn't really an opportunity. It was kind of a perfect storm. So what happened with the original New York lands was there was GSM Game Set Match.
Mhm.
They essentially hosted Beacon, Long Island Summer Splat, and like local one day events
Mhm.
in Long Island. They were around like 2019, 2018-ish. Um, and they had their own 2 day events also, like Summer Splat and Beacon. Like
Okay.
two-day events in a year for New York. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, no, for real.
Um, yeah. And eventually, just like with a lot of stuff, COVID came down and
Mhm.
just ruined the party.
Yeah.
And the organizers themselves were like, yeah, at some point they just like they lost interest for a couple of reasons
Mhm.
that too much to get into, but yeah, there was a void in New York lands, and with Splatoon 3 coming in, I remember I talked with Pico and the Law at the Nintendo New York launch for
Mhm.
Splatoon 3, and then the idea of like, well, who's gonna host the next Splatoon lands? Like, who's gonna fill the void that GSM left?
Mhm.
And at first, it felt like, in my head, like maybe it's gonna be like us that ends up doing it, but that wasn't the moment when we like decided. It was like a month after I got a message, uh, being like, "Okay, we're doing this," and I'm like, "Oh hell yeah,
Yeah.
let's go." That was in October 2022 ish, and I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And we started planning and working on the ideas and brands like from there.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean that's dope. I always forget like that's kind of like that was the lore for like pre-Metro Inc. was that there was originally a crew that made New York events for Splatoon, and then with so much that can happen, and that of course that did happen in the world. Unfortunately, things get changed, things go differently, but it's really awesome to hear that you three kind of had that that seed in your mind of like someone's got to do it at some point and like we need it back, and you were able to all three just kind of take over and create what we have now.
Yeah, it's pretty wild because I did go to some of the GSM events. They were
Mhm.
great. They were honestly, from what I've seen like people talk about recently, it was a big space. It was just Splatoon, and it was pretty much like I think the collision space, but 4 times smaller, but still pretty big.
Yeah.
So those are interesting. Only issue for me was I couldn't go to as many of them as I wanted because it was Long Island, and that's a trip for me. So
Yeah, I was gonna say
it
that's
was tough.
that's kind of far out there.
Yeah, it was tough. So, but what can you do?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Attend when you can, and besides that, just support it however possible, whether you're there physically or do they have streams for the events back then?
Absolutely. Gen Game, they're our current
Oh,
broadcast guys. They worked with them.
oh,
So
that's actually so sick.
yeah, Gen Game's been there since back then. They're legends. So respect to those guys.
No, yeah, for real. That's so dope that they were so like open to coming back around and being like, yeah, let's keep it going. Let's run it back.
Oh yeah.
So what was the idea behind originally wanting to host 2 day Splatoon events once you kind of got the 1 day Big Dapples going? And was there any like troubles you were facing trying to get clearance for that? Because I know what many people who maybe have attended those events know that they're hosted at Brookland in Brooklyn, New York.
Mhm, mhm.
And as someone who's been there since the first Big Dapple, I mean, amazing, incredible venue. It's wonderful for the 1 days. So yeah, take me a little bit behind the startup and working behind the scenes of wanting to host the 2 day
Yeah,
events.
yeah. Let's just open up the hood. Um, the 2 day events, if I remember correctly, the idea for it started with before like Big Apple. It was part of like, oh, we want to do the 1 day and then eventually have our own bigger
Mhm.
event maybe in the summer,
Okay.
similar to how GSM had their stuff.
Mhm.
So the idea was there. I was actually looking back on the chat logs to see like when actually started working on Gridlock, the
Mhm.
first version of it, and it was around late March, early April. We were just like solidifying the branding. Then we had to set up a we wanted to make it like a different announcement than Dapple, so we were like, okay, let's do a trailer,
Hmm.
which was its own journey in itself. But this time, the first time around, there wasn't the Nintendo license. That wasn't a thing.
Yeah, this was pre-licensing.
Yeah, so that wasn't really an issue for the first iteration. And yeah, then we just figured out the branding like March, April, announced it end of April. I remember the trailer was, I ended up making the trailer, but it
Hmm.
was kind of scuffed because there was someone else that we asked to do it. And then I remember I checked up on them. Unfortunately, they weren't really able to, like, and it was very close to like when we wanted to announce it. So then I was like, oh, come on, man. Come on. We gotta figure something out.
Yeah, we need something.
And I remember I was DMing Pico that like same night, and I'm like, we just gotta do an all-nighter type thing.
Hmm.
So we figured that out, which was fun. You could probably I haven't watched back the trailer in a minute, but I could probably see it and be like, oh yeah, there's like some. It's a little rough around the edges probably. Uh, but it was fun. It was nice doing that. And yeah, I mean, next year there was Gridlock 2 or 2024. That's when the license thing dropped. So
Hmm.
everyone was like, oh no, what's gonna happen? Are they gonna let us do this? Especially because Brookland's a bar
Hmm.
slash gaming lounge, and obviously like alcohol is like a big no-no
Yeah.
if you're a Nintendo event. So essentially, we applied for the license then around, what was it? It was like early March 2024.
Hmm.
And they got back to us very quickly. I was like,
Oh.
huh, not bad. It was around like April, like early April. They were
Hmm.
like, yeah, you're good. But pretty much what they asked us was one, just like the like you can see like what they ask you on the guidelines website
Hmm.
and exemption for a license thing on their page. The only thing we really had to tell them was what was the purpose of our organization
Hmm.
and what were we going to do to make sure there was like a clear separation of bar and gaming area.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was pretty much it. We didn't get as much pushback as we thought, and it went by pretty quickly. I was a little shocked. I was like, oh my god, we're gonna have to wait forever, and everyone's gonna hate us because we're announcing it so late.
Yeah,
But luckily
yeah.
they had they gave it to us in a month, and then that's Gridlock 2. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's really cool to know that, like, because I was when you applied for it. Now that I think about it, that's like not that far out off of when they originally announced the guidelines. Um,
Yeah.
so it's really cool to know that, like, at least in the beginning they were very snappy with it to be like, okay, like, we see what you want to do, like, let's get the ball rolling. Like, I imagine, I mean, obviously you should submit a form and you get an answer back within X amount of time. But I like
Hmm.
to personally think and theorize that I'd hope they have a designated team for certain games, certain areas, because like their big three when it comes to competitive events is obviously Smash, Mario Kart, and then Splatoon. Um, so I like to think that maybe there's like a dedicated team for those games, or maybe it's all one big team and they just file through whatever comes through comes in at once. But um, it's really cool that from the get go of that, it was pretty simple in a smooth process to getting approved for those things.
Yeah, because that it was a mixed bag. Because I saw some people had they would say, "Oh, it took us like several months."
Hmm.
Other people were getting rejected, uh, and then I see like some Japanese events, like locals, they get accepted so quickly.
Hmm.
So it was a mixed bag. It was hard to know what to expect. I was lucky that was like a 1 month thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's with how many mixed signals, it's just kind of like, we're just gonna submit it, hope for the best.
Yeah, that's how you just gotta like you gotta go for it. It's like pray.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So with that being said, then that brings us up to current speed with Gridlock 2025 combining with Collision. Now, from this point forward, I do have some questions that are related to a feedback doc that you posted yourself on social media. So a lot of that will be
Mhm.
kind of reflective of that. And for anyone that's listening, it will be once this VOD ends up on YouTube, it will be linked as in the description if those want to check it out. But one of the first things I do have to ask is, obviously the main thing, Gridlock joins forces with Collision. So walk us through that thought process of joining up with them, and then maybe what some of those conversations were like, and when they really started to get this kind of collab going.
Yeah, it sounds kinda crazy to think about it like that happened.
Yeah,
Um,
it's still kind of a shock to me, just from
because
just like Brookland
uh-huh.
to now this.
Yeah, because it's like, I was just imagining the other day, I was looking into, like, collision history, and they've been a thing for a long time.
Hmm.
So, it's pretty cool that they just let us in, into their space and see what we could do there. Um, but pretty much the thought process behind it started a while back. It was I think it was around, like, the Dapples before Gridlock 2024, Gridlock
Hmm.
2, make
Okay.
it easier. People were saying, like, "Oh, we're running out of space, we're cramped, we're concerned for Gridlock, how it's gonna be in this space with more people." Of course, Gridlock 2024 came around. We had a lot of people there, and there were similar concerns about space. Um, we would see it on our feedback forums. That was like the biggest thing that people would talk about in
Hmm.
terms of like what could we improve. So at that point, we're like, okay, if Gridlock's gonna keep growing this like trajectory, more people want to come. Brooklyn, we're just maxing it out. We're can't do much about it at that point.
Hmm.
So we were looking for venue spaces for a long time. We were looking at different things. I know like a lot of always memes like, oh, we're looking at Madison Square Garden, trying to see if
Yeah.
they'll let us in. Uh, all these other crazy big venues because there's like maybe we're just looking for like a any sliver of hope that we can get like a bigger venue.
Hmm.
Uh, and for a long time we couldn't really do that. So that question was just there, like how do we get into a bigger space? And then I think it was in February, the opportunity was presented to us by Gen Game,
Hmm.
since they had like a contact with Collision.
Oh,
They
nice.
were able to like get us into like talks with them in like mid-February. We actually started talking to them like officially, I think it's mid-March at this point. And yeah, we're just like this going into we're like, okay, this is a chance that we can expand the space. We can make it more attractive for people flying in, for people that also that they're local. It's close enough. Ideally, it's not as like much more expensive than the previous gridlocks.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it just felt like a chance that we could grow a lot. So we were like, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense to me, especially since you outgrew. I remember outgrowing that pretty fast, and really you saw it when if you really stood like in the back of like the Brookland, or I guess the entrance, I guess you could say,
Uh-huh.
and looked forward, like you could just see how packed not only the main stage area was, but then the hallway. You had people in the like bar-ish area and the seating area all watching on all the TVs, which give props to Brookland for having that up too. Like it's just crazy to think that you could just grab food and you could just watch on like those the I think it's what, four TVs together that have a 1/4 of the stream, which was pretty
Yeah,
fire.
yeah, that was cool.
But yeah, I totally. I mean, when you get an opportunity like that, it's not every day. And especially like you said, you were looking for so long. So, um, was it difficult at all, like trying to, I guess, like have them accept Splatoon onto it? Because I know with a lot of other like majors, right? When you have people that were like looking at the one time we had Genesis, I know when MomoCon first appeared, a lot of the worry was like, what's like our um
Our value.
yeah, kind of what's our value we're bringing to the table that's gonna like, okay, yeah, like we should bring you on. Was there like much that you had to kind of fight for,
Mhm.
or were they pretty open?
Honestly, they were pretty open. Obviously, there's like with the initial talks, you bring in like what the previous events had, like what
Hmm.
value you bring to the table.
Yeah.
We showed them that from our previous events, and they were down. They were down pretty quickly to do this. The big hiccup was more in terms of like what they could secure for us equipment wise,
Hmm.
because there's like a lot more chains of command that has to go through, like different people that they source the equipment from.
Got
They
you.
have to ask them, then they have to respond to them, then they get back to us.
Hmm.
That's what took the longest for sure, like securing potentially securing monitors or projectors, power,
Hmm.
all that stuff. That took the longest. Um, I think it was, and then also figuring out like the finances,
Yeah.
how we're doing that, like revenue splits, or are we doing revenue splits, or how it's all going to work. Because there's a lot of it was definitely a lot more expensive than the previous gridlocks, so we have
Hmm.
to make sure we're doing the right thing and we're not just like burning money just to do this.
Yeah.
Um,
No, exactly. Especially when hosting Splatoon land, I think the biggest thing that a lot of people have learned quickly is like you're not hoping to make money, you're just hoping to break even.
yeah, yeah. Like my big thing I always wanted to make sure that happens with Metroid is that we don't like we don't want to invest our personal stuff into it
Hmm.
just to make it like survive. We want it to be self-sustainable.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, that's the goal at least. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but we just keep trying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What were some of the equipments that um Collision wasn't maybe able to fully secure for you guys that you had to kind of track down yourselves?
Yeah, so that was monitors.
Okay.
They tried to get monitors for us through a sponsor, but unfortunately, it was a little late in the talks.
Hmm.
Like they already had their monitors secured for their Smash stuff beforehand, and then here we come in, and according to like when we were talking, it was just tricky. So they couldn't get us much there.
Yeah.
We had to secure monitors, and some extra like peripheral stuff like Ethernet cables,
Hmm.
docks. We already had for the most part on our end, so that was fine. Switch 2 docks was like it was meant to be a players bring their own Switch 2 docks. So that wasn't really needed.
Hmm.
So the big thing was monitors.
Yeah.
Our solution there was, well, we had a couple people that we asked that could do it. Uh, One contact ended up not responding after some point, which was a little confusing, and it also made us scramble a bit
Yeah.
because we're like, okay, this was like who we were relying on. So that was a little tough, and then we had to just like search the market at that point.
Gotcha.
We, yeah, the quotes there were nasty, and luckily we found a space that was relatively cheap to give us like good monitors, and then Face from Aeon slash Gen Game Crew from back in the day,
Hmm.
he was able to loan us out some too.
Nice. And I will say the monitors were very nice. Like I don't know what like special thing that these monitors have. I think it's like the I guess maybe I don't want to say the anti-glare, but just like the shine, I guess, on the monitor, like the screen itself was
Really
so clear compared to other lands where it's like some kind of like um I don't even know what to call it, but like sometimes they just have that kind of like almost like a gradient kind of feel to them, like grainy.
interesting.
But these monitors were like crystal clear. It was such a difference um
That's, that's
from
interesting.
playing.
Because I remember I saw our monitor listing. Like we were pretty much just going for what we can get that
Hmm.
would match the specs of Splatoon.
Hmm.
Like 60 hertz and 60 hertz refresh rate and not so crazy input delay, like
Yeah.
a reasonable one. And we just got whatever we could get at the lowest cost possible, just
Hmm.
because that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And then I saw it. I saw the monitors. I'm like, Dell? I'm like, Dell monitors? I've never used Dell monitors. I've never. I'm like, oh no, this can't be good, bro. Uh, so that funny enough, like we were testing out the Dell monitors on the main stage with me and Pico,
Hmm.
and there was a delay. We were like, oh no, there's a delay on this monitor that we spent money on, man. But then there's the gaming setting, and there's like the, what do you call it? there was a setting on it that once you change it, it
Hmm.
makes the response time just like fast and crisp. And I was like, we're like, oh my god,
Nice.
that saved us.
Yeah.
That would have been tragic.
No, yeah, I mean, because how many monitors did you end up having in total having to get?
So we got 24 from the rental service,
Hmm.
and it was 16 from Face. So it was
Okay.
like 40.
Yeah.
And honestly, the I guess it was kind of lucky that it sort of saved us that less people attended,
Hmm.
because if more people had attended, then we would have needed more,
Yeah.
and that would have been, it would have hurt a little more.
Yeah, because I imagine you
But
didn't pull up with like a giant moving van of monitors.
no,
It was like everyone's
luckily
just
enough,
cars.
it was one car for the 24 monitors. It was
Mhm.
the law, or it was Ducky's van, and
Oh,
it
okay,
fit
yeah.
them all exactly.
Dude,
So
that's crazy.
that's pretty wild. I'm like, okay, we don't have to make multiple trips. That's we'll take it.
Yeah. Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah, I mean, I'm glad to hear the monitors were pretty good quality. I know there was one that was scuffed, and a
Hmm.
lot of people mentioned it in the feedback form. There was one that had like a line through it.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, it was like a vertical line. A lot of people mention it, but that's just unfortunate.
Yeah. It's,
Um,
it's kind of it's it's I think honestly pretty lucky that 1 out of 24, or if 1 out of 40, was just one bad apple of the bunch. I got pretty lucky because this is the first time hearing of it, so luck to my seat selections. I didn't get didn't get that monitor.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, that's just unfortunate. It's just kind of the way it has to roll.
yeah. I'm glad the monitors turned out well,
Hmm.
and it didn't break our backs financially. So happy for that.
Yeah, no, that's always good. So some players were concerned as we got closer and closer to the event, and the announcement of the event once it finally arrived was the lateness of it being announced.
Mhm.
And there was some mention of it in help desk why it occurred, but for those that maybe don't know, tell us a little about why the event had to get announced kind of so late to the official date of the event.
Right. So it's a couple things. Just thinking back to like the previous gridlocks, we're
Hmm.
used to getting the whole process rolling in like Marchish, and then
Hmm.
having a decent announcement time. It could have been better still, but it wasn't bad. Uh, and then this year rolls around, we start the talks in March also,
Hmm.
and I guess we just weren't prepared for how long the back and forth would take.
Yeah.
And so that definitely caught us off guard. Yeah, I remember in the middle of it, I was telling, I was telling the, like, I was telling the law Pico about it. Like, should we just jump ship at this point and just go to Brooklyn right now? But it was around May, early May. Like, it could have worked, but also we still had to apply for a separate license
Hmm.
with Brooklyn at that point. So who knows how long that would take.
Yeah.
So we are like, okay, we'll just ride the ship out. I remember I was like about to send a message, being like, okay, we'll jump ship, and then they responded to us. So I was like, okay, we'll keep going. See, ideally we get our license quick,
Hmm.
but yeah, the talks stalled longer than we expected. And then on top of that, once the talks were finished, it was just a matter of waiting for the license, which was pretty tough. That was just out of our control.
Yeah, that's just in pretty much Nintendo's response hands. Now, did you guys have to apply for it, or did Collision have to apply for the license for you for the event?
It was on Collision's end.
Okay, okay, got
Yeah,
you.
yeah. I think we
So,
got it like
mhm,
June, end of June, and I was like, damn,
yeah,
it's mad late. Like at that point, we already knew it's like, yeah, we're probably gonna lose a lot of people, especially because of the date. The date might have been the worst date of all time, if I'm
mhm.
being honest. Anime
Yeah,
NYC 2 weeks from Riptide.
yeah, literally, like, it's so tough, especially because like I know there are people that were like attending on both ends, like
Uh,
both sometimes, well, some days their main focus with Anime NYC, like I know Vic and Chicken,
mhm.
were attending that, but they were found some time to come and attend Gridlock, which is really cool to see them for a day or so.
Oh yeah. for sure.
But yeah, that time is just so unfortunate for all this to be happening.
Yeah, it was tough. The reason we saw the date before and like way in advance, like March. We're like,
Hmm.
okay. Uh, Pretty much the reason we just kept going past that, like pushing through that, was because of the opportunity to just work in a bigger space with
Yeah.
a bigger event series. And it's like, okay, we're thinking it might be a down year just because of the circumstances of the date. Um, but we thought it was valuable to, start in a bigger space, plant our seeds, get more experience doing an event of that scale
Hmm.
in that situation. Um, I feel like the experience itself of working it was pretty good. Like
Hmm.
we learned a lot of stuff that we weren't used to in Brookland because Brookland's it's a lot more set up for you already.
Yeah, yeah. Like everything's kind of all like pretty much all of Brookland setups are already gaming setups, and like nothing really needs to be touched besides me installing the Switch docks. But this time it's like
Yeah.
you're doing everything.
Yeah, you guys. I remember we were talking about the table layout. It felt like an hour we were talking about like how do we want to do the table layout
Yeah.
and this like the seating layout with the stage. So that was a fun challenge. It took longer, like, cool thing to do. And
Hmm.
it also just makes the I don't know, it just gives you more ideas too of like, now we have this free space. What can we do with it? What can we do
Hmm.
to change it up? So that's always fun.
Yeah, it allows you to have a little bit more creative genius with it because there's more at your will and your hands than before.
Yeah.
So I know another thing that some people were concerned about was the cost of attending the event, whether that was spec or competing. Um, so to clear that out, like that wasn't obviously in your control. That was pretty much you had to follow what Collision was setting for you.
Yeah, pretty much. The only thing we had control over was the pricing for like the Splatoon entry.
Okay.
So, like the $10 fee or
Hmm.
whatever.
Yeah.
Um, we set at 10. I know like some events do like 15, but we're
Hmm.
just like, let's do 10 because I know the other pricing got a little higher.
Yeah.
Um, so that's the only thing we could do. Collision had their pricing set beforehand, and yeah, we didn't really have any input on that. We can't really change that because that's based on how much their stuff costs, how much they
Yeah.
expect to bring in. So that's tough.
Hmm.
I know people unable to go because of that. I do feel bad because there's definitely times when I'm like, oh my god, this pass is so expensive,
Yeah.
and I just don't go because of that. Like even Riptide, I'm still going, but to Riptide, but I know the passes, especially the late pass, it's like a lot of money.
Yeah. It
Um,
skyrockets up there.
yeah, but for what it's worth, having access to a space like that for that much it's like relatively a good value from what I've seen in like other tickets.
Hmm.
Um, I think at least for Collision, like the 3 day access to the space for like the early bird pass was not bad.
Hmm.
Gridlock was 2 days, and there's like a whole nother uh, talk about like 2 day versus 3 day. But just in strictly terms of value, I think you would get more out of the 3 day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially because there's more. It allows you to have more time set aside for things to do as well. Especially because day three ended in like the afternoon. Which how was that? What was that feeling like? Because I'm sure you're used to the gridlocks usually last until the end of the day on Sunday night.
Yeah, so honestly, that was more of like a decision with like Collision
Hmm.
how they're handling it
Yeah.
because they're a Smash event, obviously. So they
Hmm.
wanted to put their Smash stuff front and center. So then they asked us like, oh, if you guys can finish by like 3 o'clock, that was their like time. And we're like, yeah, because they wanted to highlight the Smash stuff and not have it like compete with each other. It made sense to us. It definitely felt weird though, because 3 o'clock, it's like 10 to 3.
Hmm.
It did feel slightly rushed. Maybe if I had like an extra hour, that would have been perfect.
Hmm.
Um, but it did give us more time to clean up and get out of there relatively early. It wasn't too bad, but definitely for future events, if we are at we are with Collision still. Let's see if we can get it longer, especially with more players, because you're gonna need that time for bracket just to finish.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of I guess a mini blessing that there wasn't so many such a large turnout, so you're able to get a lot of the brackets, and of course the group stages finished pretty early on, and that it just worked out pretty nicely when it came to that early end time on Sunday. So that's always pretty good.
Mhm.
So overall, though, how do you feel Gridlock turned out this year? Just this year overall.
I feel like it was a fun time. It was definitely fun seeing a lot of the old faces. It was fun seeing new people pull up.
Hmm.
That was the big concern going into it was since the data's announced so late, are we gonna get people actually flying out from who knows where on the planet?
Yeah.
And people actually did fly out. So that was very I'm like, bless you guys. Y'all are the best.
Yeah.
Uh appreciate that a lot. So that was cool. Um, I left the event with more questions about what to do, which is
Hmm.
always it was different than the last gridlock. The last gridlock was awesome with terms of turnout.
Hmm.
But I know by the end of it, we were like, for me at least, it wasn't there wasn't really as many questions about like how can we change up the space or what can we do next.
Hmm.
Um, because we were maxing out like what we could do, it felt like.
Yeah.
So this one, it feels like there's a lot more questions about what to do to change it up or make sure, especially the like one of the big, I guess, feedbacks that people had was that it felt like the Splatoon space was getting drowned out by Smash,
Hmm.
which I definitely felt. I know sometimes they turned on their speakers super loud, so I
Yeah.
had to tell our production to turn on the speakers louder. Just, but you can't do it too much because then obviously it's gonna hurt people's ears.
Yeah. Or affect like the
Uh,
players instead of that's like right next to it.
yeah, yeah, literally. So that's definitely something that we can work on. But also the idea of bringing like the culture from like the Brookland events,
Hmm.
making it just like transferring it over to this other space sounds like something worth trying to do. Um, just because I feel like if you can do that at a bigger space with your own, you know, your own decorations, your own, community input on what would make the space great, then I feel like that's going to be just awesome to experience. Because Brookland, I love Brookland.
Hmm.
It's the space itself is great. The aesthetic is great. Uh, thing is though, it's like that's like their aesthetic that they
Yeah.
had already.
Hmm.
So, with our blank space that we have, it's like, okay, where's the room for like the Metroink community, New York City, tri-state community? Like, how could they make their like imprint
Hmm.
on the atmosphere and space? So I feel like that's the opportunity for that's a lot higher, and that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. It's always cool to kind of leave your mark, especially once you're kind of joining a new space. And have you ever gotten a chance yet to kind of speak with like the folks over at Collision about how they felt seeing Splatoon go at their event?
Yeah, we actually haven't yet.
Okay.
I wanted to give everyone, you know, just like a little break after the whole thing.
Yeah, no,
I don't know if
absolutely.
you read the RJ, one of the head TOs. He made like a twit longer about
Okay.
the event itself, and it's pretty interesting. It goes into like what it call like the issues that happened with the event
Hmm.
because they had their own problems on their end,
Okay.
and just like the sacrifices they made to make sure it happened. It was a pretty interesting read. I'd recommend it. I mean, I could link it right now, actually,
Yeah, if you
if
want
you
to
want.
link that, that'd be dope. And we could take a look at that because that's really cool to have. You don't really hear that too often. It's really cool to have transparency when it comes to such like large events, and having them kind of speak out on things that were challenging for them. So that's pretty cool that they, someone as a part of their team was able to put something together to kind of like, give an understanding to players for certain things that they went through.
Yeah, I was. It was definitely an interesting read. Glad he did that, and you're just like, wow, like they put a lot into it, so you
Yeah,
just gotta respect it. I posted it in the guest chat.
awesome. I'm gonna pull up on mine, and I'm also gonna post it in the chat as well for anyone that would like to read it as well. This over here. There we go. There we go. Um, cool. But let's see. So Gridlock is one of probably the first lands that's allowed Switch 2s. Overall, how do you feel it went allowing them for the event? And do you think you'll be open to allowing them for future events?
Yeah, so Switch 2 is like the big bad wolf looming in the horizon for lands. So
Yeah.
we were just like, okay, we'll see what we can do for this one. And it was it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great.
Hmm.
Um at first we had like some hiccups transferring the switches to each station, but as the tournament went, I'm pretty sure the every like all the staff helping out at the stations, they got the flow of it. Players starting to get better with the flow of it. We definitely were good on allowing a time buffer
Hmm.
for these kind of transfers, so it worked out on that end. But I can't imagine having to do this on if you're at like the scale of a Riptide,
Hmm.
like with so many players having to move things around, move setups around. Because we had about four setups,
Hmm.
and that's pretty easy to control if you have like one staff on almost every setup.
Yeah.
But yeah, it went well for this for the size. I don't know if you can do it for a much bigger size event, and I'm leaning towards us allowing it for the Dapples because those are
Hmm.
around like 16-ish teams.
Yeah.
So that should not be an issue. We'll definitely talk over it with the squad, see how everyone like feels about it. But I think we'll still allow it.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I mean, I could say also like, I mean, it could just be like some people that just like are experienced with most land setups, or just in general like the sensitivity of having to plug in their docks maybe repeatedly. But I mean, I felt for the most part people were pretty good when it came to connecting their stuff and plugging everything back in once they were done at their setup. What would you say like maybe the ratio was from like Switch 2 that Switch 2s that were brought versus regular Switches?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because I thought it would be like 10 to 90 or something, or
Yeah.
20 to 80. It felt like it was 50-50 or like 40-50, 40 being the Switch 2s,
Hmm.
or not 40-50, 40-60. My math's not cooking.
Okay.
But yeah, like 40-60. And I was like, whoa, everyone bought Switch 2s. It was probably like the worst ratio we could get, honestly.
Yeah.
Because then you can't put people on a specific setup if they're Switch 2 because they have like three-fourths. There wasn't a full team that had Switch 2, so it wasn't like,
Hmm.
oh, you can prop these guys on a setup for the whole group stage, something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, that was pretty interesting. I do think eventually I want to see how it is like a year from now. If it's like Switch 2s are the most used ones, and then you just have like the Switch 1 docks uh, in storage, like if you need it.
Yeah.
I know we were talking with like Gen Game. They're trying to see if they could stock up on Switch 2s over time.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's in the process. It right now we're in like a weird transition period, but eventually we'll get there.
Yeah, it definitely take a little bit of time, but it's really cool. It's actually crazy to think that that's the kind of split that it felt for the amount of players that the event had. But I guess it does just go to show that, over time, players eventually want that upgrade. Whether it's because they have those day one switches where the batteries are just poking out a little too much, or
That's me.
yeah.
I have to play with that on Riptide, dude. Oh
Oh,
my god.
Godspeed. Or yeah, I mean, just in general, having the um just wanting that kind of advancement for their console. So it's really cool knowing that that's the kind of way it's going forward. And yeah, like I agree, it's gonna be really interesting to see not only where like I guess the community will be when it comes to having Switch 2s, but also just what most other events are going to tend to do. Is there anything you would suggest to anyone that's maybe listening that is considering Switch 2s for their LAN events?
Um, I mean, definitely look at like, your size and scale, see if it makes sense.
Mhm.
16 teams for us worked, but if you have the staff for it, then that's good. If you're short staffed, then it could be a little annoying. Like if you don't have anyone to watch over the different setups that are switching, then you might end up with like unplugged stuff or like a little messy setup.
Yeah.
So definitely have more hands on deck. That's probably the biggest thing.
All right, nice. So how does it feel to finally have this gridlock checked off your list? And are you excited for what is going to be in store for Metro Inc?
Dude, it was just leading up to this gridlock was like, oh my God. It felt like the week or two before the event, it was kind of like just like working on something different,
Hmm.
trying to make sure like people get the notification, like, oh, this happening when, or we're still doing signups for side event.
Hmm.
Um, so it definitely felt like it was in my head like around the clock.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at the end of this, I'm gonna not want to touch any land thing for a minute. That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking. The event came around. It went like a day rest. Had some nice skewers at a good spot, like the Monday.
Nice.
Uh, and Tuesday comes around, and it felt weird because I didn't feel tired. We
Hmm.
didn't want to like have nothing to do with like organizing events.
Hmm.
Because I remember beforehand we were all thinking the same thing. Like, yeah, after Gridlock, we're gonna want to do like a vacation and just not touch events for a little bit. And then, but we didn't feel that way. We were felt more excited to keep working on stuff. Just because there's
Nice.
more, just like seeing the space there and seeing like what didn't happen.
Hmm.
It just felt more motivating to like make sure like we can change that for the next one. Uh, the plan really is like we'll talk with Collision, see if we can do a partnership again with them.
Hmm.
It at that point I think it would be under the Collision brand, so it wouldn't be Gridlock. It would be just Collision.
Okay.
That was the plan, just like starting out. And yeah, if we get a space again, then we'll definitely work on getting more of the basic stuff handled early on, monitors, decorations, everything. Just upgrade the space the way that we want to. Even pushing it more than what Brookland was, or like what we did for Brookland. Um, so yeah, that's exciting. I know the definitely a lot of the feedback was it was good to read because
Hmm.
then there's like people are like, you guys should communicate the events better or like be more transparent about the intention of the events. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. There's definitely room to improve on that stuff.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean that's what we want Gridlock to be. We would rather be at a bigger space than have it not be at a bigger space.
Yeah,
And like,
bigger space so you
yeah,
can allow pretty much no limit in a sense of who can sign up. Whereas if you have it at Brooklyn, like at some point you have to cap it out.
yeah, and of course the the issue that people saw was that like it's not as it sort of loses its what's the word, like vibe, like I don't
Hmm.
know, like it's cozy vibe that you get in that space,
Yeah.
which is a valid concern. Um, but there's only it's a rock and a hard place. Like you wanted a bigger space to like, allow more people to come in.
Hmm.
You're gonna have to trade something off.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll still keep working towards that. It New I've also seen like New York City as a venue which we'd love to have.
Mhm.
Um, but it's hard, man. It's hard, dude.
Yeah,
There's
I can
so many.
imagine.
There's so many venues and they're so expensive just for
Mhm.
like one day. I mean, I saw like a venue that somewhere in Brooklyn, it was like 1,000 or 8,000 for one day,
Mhm.
and it's just like a blank space again. And it's just if there's like a magical venue in New York City that one is affordable, two, it gives like us room to grow, then we'd love to do it there. Um, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens in terms of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, I can imagine that was also kind of the before Collision, right? Was even in the picture for an option. It's just like just because it's New York and the pricing is always going to be scary to have to flip through. Hurts the wallet just thinking about it. um but it's really cool though that yeah, I think it's really cool that a part of Metro Inc. is has the potential to grow bigger and become something greater, and it's almost becoming its own kind of entity from the smaller events, right? From the big dapples. And I like to think that, like you mentioned, a lot of people feel like the loss of the familiarity and the coziness of it, is fading. But the way I like to see it is that it's going to be overall better as a community growth um, for an event like that to be held, especially because we're in the day and age where there's lands popping up everywhere. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's two new locals that are happening at some point in the next couple months that are hosting their first iteration. So it's always really good to see the scene growing when it comes to in-person events, and this is the kind of growth you want to see. And as long as those big dapples are still kicking, they're still running, that your little land at home is still going to going to be there for you, even if the larger, more action-packed events, um, the longer events that take multiple days are growing out of their home.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the big dapples, they're definitely here to stay. Like, I don't really think we can move that anywhere.
Yeah.
Um, that's here to stay. We're already talking with Brookland to find the good dates that work for us and them.
Mhm.
It's pretty busy, so the date might not be the most ideal.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, we'll see with that. And yeah, I mean, big thing is I definitely do like empathize with the concern of losing the culture from the Brookland events.
Mhm.
I do want it's like a big challenge to try to bring that over to the bigger space in whatever way we can.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be great if we could do that. But we have to see it really depends how the culture develops on its own. You can't fully control that, you know, for like the bigger events.
No, absolutely. That's just kind of the way it goes, and I'm sure I'm as much as like I know some people maybe like love the aspect of like, oh wow, like we have so many people at our little space. It's like at some point, even just not even with like Splatoon lines, but in just like events in general that are held, you always gotta look for what's bigger and better, because the more amazing and cool something looks, the more people are gonna want to go see it and attend it. So you have to kind of as like a I guess I guess like as a regular to those events, sometimes you got to try to be understanding of what the decisions that have to be made.
Yeah, like we last thing we want to do is like alienate the people that were there since day one.
Yeah.
So, you know, Dapples still exist. Gridlocks are meant for like the bigger events to
Hmm.
draw
Yeah.
people out. Uh, yeah.
When are we? When I think you put it in your the feedback doc you posted, but so Big Apple 8 looking for December.
Yeah, so we were thinking about it. We were like, okay, when are the staff available? Then we have to see when Brookland's available.
Hmm.
December, let me check actually what other dates we had in mind.
Hmm.
Because none of this is like it's all tentative, so
Yeah,
it could
yeah, yeah,
easily
yeah.
change.
This can change in an instant, but this is like just some ideas being thrown at the board.
Yeah, so let's see here. It is, where's this chat? Where is this chat? Tentative dates December 6th, November 1st, October 11th. I'm probably leaning towards no on the October 11th since it's coming up and
Hmm.
we're not fully like ready.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are what we're imagining because the other dates were most likely not available in terms of staff.
Yeah, no, I mean that makes sense, and it's good to have this here that there's multiple dates in mind. Obviously, like I know you mentioned that comes down to what's available at the space for Brooklyn, because I'm sure since we are heading into um that winter season, there's going to be a lot of like late end of year events that are going to want to be held. So,
Oh yeah,
but that's cool that the drawing board's being created.
oh yeah, and as soon as we can, we're definitely gonna try to talk to Collision, see what's up, how they want to approach next year's event. And honestly, I was thinking of looking at, I was thinking of going back to square one again,
Hmm.
being like, maybe we missed a venue that somehow exists in New York City. And I was like, okay, maybe there's something here. So I'm going through that. What do you call it? What was it? The Sisyphus, the rock.
Oh yeah,
It rolled down the hill. Now we're trying again to find another venue. So
yeah.
in the middle of that, I'm like, maybe colleges have something for us. And there would be another part of me is like, if is hoping that that happens
Hmm.
because it would also be like a different type of challenge to do an event in a space that's not like co-partnered with Smash, and also it's just like a blank space because then we'd actually have to be. I would imagine we'd have to be like fully from the ground up because Collision was able to provide us the like the tables, the seats, the power, and all that. I'm sure they
Hmm.
had to talk to like those crews about that. So
Yeah.
if we went on the space on our own, then we're gonna be the ones that have to talk to those crews and figure stuff out. So potential challenge that could be fun, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's all about that kind of theory crafting and seeing what's going to be out there. So that's awesome that that's there's potential there for um giving yourself an extra challenge that you never know what's going to happen with.
Yeah, it's partly why it's fun organizing the events because we're it's it doesn't feel enjoyable for me to just be like, all right, let's cash it in, let's do another Big Dapple, same thing.
Hmm.
Like even with the Big Dapples, you want to like change it up, just to make it enjoyable. But obviously, you don't want to change it up too much to where people don't like it. So that just it's kind of the balance for me at least.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That makes perfect sense. So, what's next for you? What's coming up now that Gridlock is over? Where will we be seeing you?
Uh, Pretty much there is Riptide. I'm gonna be playing at Riptide with Team Bet. Not
Oh,
sure if
nice.
yeah. So they pulled up somehow. Like
Dude, that's
the
actually goaded.
players that are notorious for not showing up last minute. Okay, so like mini story time. Delta,
Hmm.
one of the guys on Bet was supposed to come to Big Dapple 6, the
Okay.
winter one.
Yeah.
Uh, he had the Airbnb booked with Dre and Weiss.
Hmm.
And he paid for it and everything. He did not show up.
Dang.
I'm like, we still clown on him to this day about that because it's like it's a pattern. Like he's like, I'm gonna go. I don't go.
Yeah.
And then he did like the absolute most. He paid for the Airbnb and he still didn't show up. I still don't believe he's gonna show up until I see him touchdown in Ohio this Thursday.
Yeah.
So so that'll be fun. Uh, I used to play with them for in like comp like online tournaments. So
Hmm.
it's cool to finally get a offline version. Riptide's gonna be hype. There's so many good teams.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's oh God, how many even teams is it? I know there's like what 470 signups, so like this is a
Yeah,
massive event.
100 plus teams. You get a lot of strong teams.
Hmm.
It definitely be one of the best lands.
Yeah, for multiple skill levels too. Like there's so much variety that it's really gonna it's almost gonna feel like a super jump.
What, a super jump?
Yeah, how like you have just have like you have the different like level brackets and just like skill level. Like it almost feels like
Uh,
an IRL super jump.
Honestly, yeah, that's a good comparison.
But
Yeah.
that's gonna be dope. Awesome. So then I'll definitely be seeing you in a couple of days then. Um,
100%.
well then, Power, that being said, that's all I really have for you for today. So this is the kind of part of the podcast where I love to just kind of pass you the mic, and say whatever you'd love to say, round off whatever you'd like to round off, and give the shout outs you'd love to pass out.
Yeah, so definitely with the Metro Inc. and New York, Tri-State, and beyond events, we are we are open to feedback. So even if you don't respond to feedback form, people are welcome to message us or message me. I won't put the others on blast unless they give explicit permission. So
Hmm.
my DMs are open if there's any concerns and stuff. Uh, that's definitely a big thing because I don't want people to feel like they're they can't like say oh they don't like this about it or they'll get flamed about it.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big thing. Second, I don't know, just if you're around, if you're free, just go watch Riptide. Support your locals that are coming up. There's Connecticut's doing a new local. I don't know if you want to link that one too, but we
Yeah.
could.
Yeah, good. Absolutely. I'd be so down too. I
Yeah,
think that
Connecticut's starting something up. Let me get that link for you.
yeah, if you want to send that over, we'll flex that out on there.
River Rapids local land.
It's I remember back when there was just like no lands, dude. This is crazy.
I know I know Pepe. I think he's cooking up something to show off like all the lands. Uh, I may have said too much, but
It's
eh,
okay. Sneak peek, or
yeah,
sneak
yeah.
info.
Well, when it comes out, it'll be cool to see.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, support your locals. There's the Connecticut land in the works. I know NES Splatoon, the New England Splatoon org.
Hmm.
They're having their event October 25th. I'd love to. I'd love to go personally. That weekend is. I think I'm booked that weekend, so that's tough.
Yeah.
But a lot of big things going on. Splatoon. Keep on the lookout. A lot of cool stuff.
Absolutely. Follow the socials for all your locals. Even I think there's like a I think an account really purely for posting and reposting Splatoon local stuff. I think there is somewhere. I'm sure I'll be able to find it. I'll link it in wherever I can. Um, but Power, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast and talking about Gridlock. It's been fantastic to chat with you. Fantastic to obviously attend the events. Practically, I think the only ones I've never attended are Little Dapples because y'all host them during the week.
Yeah, we'll try. It's like the most. It's the least pricey way to do it.
Yeah, hey,
Maybe
listen,
we could
makes
do a little
sense.
dapple in a different way. Maybe we could just like not have it be a venue. I don't know.
Hey,
We could figure it out.
Madison Square Garden, all I'm saying.
Yeah, let's all just go to like a Knicks game or something. I don't know,
Yeah.
and waste $300 to watch them lose.
Hey, best way to go out.
Honestly, yeah, it's not bad.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming out. That's gonna that I think that's yeah, it's gonna do it for us here over on the Cactus Patch. So thank you all for watching and or listening, whether live or in the YouTube VOD or Twitch VOD, whichever you decide to rewatch us back on. But thank you all for tuning in, and as always, we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, y'all.